Welcome to Live. As folks may or may not know, on Wednesdays around this time, we talk about a topic in and around gaming to either make ourselves better or to make what we do better or to make the gaming community better. It is getting together to try to self-improve, community improve, friendship improve. Kim, it feels like forever since I've seen you.
It's been at least since the beginning of the month.
Yeah, I got to see you at Gen Con. That was fun.
I know. And I don't think we've gamed at all since then, right? I don't think so.
No, I've been hiding out. Everything has been Conquest Princess. Everything has been Conquest Princess.
That's fair. You're allowed.
I don't know if I am, but that's what's happening.
We missed you though, because it was golf night, and it was we tried brand new menus that we've never done before that we came up with the week before, and some of them were torture.
In a good way? Oh, David, how are you?
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah, I love golf menus. We're talking about playing Sushi Go Party Golf on Sovereignty on Tuesdays. That's the last
experience known to mankind. I don't ever want to. And when I do play Sushi Go the normal way now, I'm real bad at it.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. My schedule is such a jumble. Oh my God, David's been too busy. But it's good to see everybody. I'm glad, there was a big hiatus, and last week I got to talk to Jasper and talk about how making games makes you better. And so this week I thought we'd go flip to the other side and we'd say, hey, let's talk about gaming content. Kim, for people who might not know, when did your gaming content journey start? And who are you and what do you do?
So I'm Kim Breeze, and I run a channel called Tabletop Rebellion, and I'm also co-host of a podcast called Bored Out of My Mind.
That is your best content to date, by the way. Bored Out of Your Mind.
I love podcasting. That's where I got my start, was in podcasting, and I feel that's what's the closest to my heart. So Parker Simpson and Parker is an aspiring board game designer, and we are interviewing different other board game designers.
You should start. He actually has a talent. First of all, he is an illustrator.
He's a very talented illustrator.
He's a talented illustrator who wants to also do game design. Let's not show Parker short.
He's a pretty great human all around. And I know Parker from how I got my start in content creation. But season 2 of Bored Out of My Mind is going to be starting very, very soon, where we're taking a little detour where it's going to be like Bored Out of My Mind stories. So while Parker is working on his prototype, we're going to be talking to different designers just to hear more about how they got it, just their story. So that's what season 2 is going to be about.
That's exciting. How many episodes was season 1, and what was the breadth of the content?
I believe we were at 10 or 11 episodes. Maybe we got to 12. I think we got to 12.
That's great for a season.
That was start 1 of what do I do? I have this board game design in my head. What do I do with it? And so we talked to different people about, do you design mechanics first, or do you follow theme? And we got several different takes on that. You were one of our guests, of course. It wouldn't be a Tabletop Rebellion production if Seppy wasn't somewhere involved. And we got different perspectives from different folks about play testing and taking your game to a con. And we built all that up to Parker actually taking his first prototype to Origins in Columbus, Ohio, 2023 for his first round of real, much bigger playtesting. He'd done playtesting locally, but hadn't done it on a bigger spectrum. And we blew his mind at Origins with all the stuff that happens at game conventions and fun things like that.
It's Trash Pandas, right?
It is called Trash Dash, but it is Trash Animals. So they are very special to Parker's heart. So all of the characters that you play were designed by Parker, and they are raccoons and a pigeon and a one-eyed cat and a rat. And I'm missing somebody, but I forget which one it is.
That would be
that's what I'm doing now.
That would be my first lesson in what does making content for gaming teach you. And I think that first lesson is accountability. I've always been an advocate for a battle buddy, and some of us are very remote. Like David's here, and he's pretty remote.
Yeah.
Becky has shown up. I love Becky. Becky's like a hub of supernatural energy. But finding your community that allows you to be accountable for whatever you're making.
Yeah.
Right? Like I might not feel up to it, but I'm going to show up for game night, or I'm not going to feel up for it, but I have to get this done. And then, getting that feeling of accomplishment. Like, so that would be my first lesson in what gaming content teaches you a little bit of, not maybe a lot, maybe it's just me, but it's accountability.
No, I think that's a good one. It's very much a matter of I have a partner. I have an obligation to him. Not that I have an obligation to my community that I want to do, that I've got something, or even a publisher. But you do learn that, hey, I'm not in this all by myself. Like there are other people involved in this. What's the word I want? Gravity of all of this. So so the things that you do carry a little more weight than if you were just recording these on your phone and watching them in your spare time.
Yeah, there's a little bit of momentum goes very far. All right. So what's the first thing on your list, Kim Breeze, of what making gaming content taught you?
It's harder than it looks. And I've been doing this for a while, like I said. So I started on a podcast about a little game called Star Wars Destiny that FFG put out. I was on that until FFG sunset, and we went through a lot of challenges just on that podcast. Of where do you come up with topics when there aren't new cards that are being released? How do you come across with something that's new and different? So I think here on TikTok, it's always going, well, what can I make that's going to be entertaining for the people who are watching so that they want to follow along on my journey and watch more content? It's very, very easy to sit in the seat, and as you're scrolling at night, and like it's the same analogy as if you watch football and you like to coach from your couch. That, well, I could have called that play correctly, and I would, like, what is my team doing? So it's very easy to sit on your couch late at night and scroll through your social medias and go, I could do that. And that's
all right. I don't want to discourage people. It is harder than it looks, and it requires things that might not everybody likes, but it gets easier when you figure out what your star power is. Some of us have a natural, like Becky, everything she does, it doesn't matter. Like Mondo, he just looks dreamily into the camera and turns into Becky, and suddenly that's the same level of content. But some of us have to work harder. Like, this is not my natural persona. I had to work very hard to get this level of like mediocre in front of the camera.
You have very high charisma. So whatever you roll every time before you do something, you always roll with a really high modifier.
I don't know. Like, Bridie's in here, and Bridie's like Gen Con video I saw that. I like shared it. Like, it's one of my favorites. Like, all these like caught weird moments from behind the scene. It was very good POV content. I was very impressed by it. For all the folks who are just turning in, some of us like Florida, I'm glad the hurricane did not hit a lot of us. That's great news. Oh, and Zazu's here. Now, Zazu has been on the live recently, and Zazu cheated to get to hit. Like, he was a stage performer musician.
Amazing.
Yeah, this is so easy for people who have like.
There's a lot of us that have a secret. Yeah, like I've done some theater stuff, not a lot, but I've done a little.
Okay.
There's a few of it, like you get drawn to it because you have a creative itch that you need to fulfill that you're not fulfilling otherwise. Like, that was really what I didn't have, a creative outlet, and that's what pulled me, I think, into it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
I don't make creative videos.
Yes,
you can tell I was not pulled in by the creativity of making gaming content.
Your stop animation.
Yeah, those didn't do well. I did like it. Yeah, the little panda. He had a story to tell. I do like telling stories. And right now the story is, how we get better and where we're going next. And obviously, Princess is over the one up. So, okay. So that was your number one lesson
Now
It's
these are not
harder
in my
than it
top 5.
looks.
Like these are just they're sprinkles of they're not in a specific order. I guess I want to clarify that.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you this question, Kim, and I think I already know the answer. But this comes up a lot when folks are asking how and why and method of doing any creative endeavor. Is do you feel uh, with serious effort gives serious reward? Like, I hate to use the word work. Normally, the phrase is, can you enjoy work or hard work? But like, work has the connotations of, mercenary trading and all this kind of stuff. But does putting forward effort add to your sense of accomplishment?
I think so. Like now, I've heard a lot of people say the videos I spend my most time on scripting and writing and doing all this stuff seem to
You're
be the
good
ones.
with the script, by the way, Kim. You really read well from a script.
I do, and I haven't. Although I haven't done that much on TikTok. Some more of my YouTube stuff is scripted so that I keep the ums and the uhs out of it.
I just constantly carry consonants.
But yeah, I think that that's, but I do that in a lot of things that I do. Like you have a standard that you want to put forth. So, and maybe, and I overdo it sometimes. I want it to be a little too perfect than what it needs to be. And I've been better at letting go of that on TikTok than I could on YouTube, because my stuff on TikTok is way more in the moment, organic stuff that I film than something scripted that I wrote out that I'm trying to do.
I am only interested in epic level adventures. And so, like, the more supreme the effort and the more impossible the task, the more excited I am about it.
I'm always amazed by everybody's just creative ideas with it. That I'm like, I would have never thought of doing that. That's brilliant. So,
oh my God. The Wes Anderson, I'm sad the Wes Anderson trend was down. Like, again, Becky was killing it for that. Like, oh my God, everybody had a stab. But yeah.
Like a River, I did get in on that one, and I was pretty happy with my results. We had some pretty good views on that one. When there was like the river thing and people were changing who they were, but I made mine a game on the table in like tongue-in-cheek sort of fashion. And I freaked out most people because I threw game pieces. And I gave a lot of people a heart attack because I haphazardly threw game pieces onto my table and they went everywhere.
Yeah. All right. So your number one is harder than your look. Number two was again?
Did we talk about my number two, or did you?
No, it's your time for your number two.
Oh, okay. You will meet some of the best people. I have met some now lifelong friends from content creation. I will be the TikTok community. Don't tell the other socials, but the TikTok community for board game content creation has been amazing and welcomed me with open arms immediately. I felt a sense of belonging. I felt a sense of I can be myself here. Nobody's trying to outdo, like we're all just in it together. Like, and it's like, I think you use the phrase a lot of like rising tide raises all ships or something to that effect.
Yep.
And I feel that very, very, very strongly in the TikTok community more than any of the other one. Not to say I met amazing people through Facebook and through publishers and at conventions and things like that, but I have felt the most at home and welcomed within here and maybe a couple of Facebook groups.
I'm going to agree with Gabe as well. He says that was my biggest surprise. I did not realize that I would become one of us. Like, I love the TikTok people. Like, yeah. I text various people with just random idiocy in the day, and just because I was like, oh my gosh, and people end up being my go-tos for stuff, and it's also a place that I've been recruiting to help people find jobs. Like Sparkman got a new gig, and that may or may not have something to do with somebody.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was the number two surprise, that I did not realize that this, like TikTok in particular, people putting themselves forward. And I have not been disappointed yet with all the times of interacting with TikTokers in real like that they are who they are. Like, I think the only person who's gotten a disappointment is Becky got to see me turn off in the middle of a convention.
And they all let me fangirl over them too. So at Gen Con, I got to meet several folks who I've only ever stared at on my phone. Jason being one of them, Mackenzie being another one. And I completely fangirled for a moment, and they just were like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, it was, and even, who else? Curvin. So it was really, really nice to see the human form.
Oh my God. I love Curvin in person.
Yeah,
Curvin in person
really
is,
cool.
I actually like Curvin in person more than Intense Death Stare Curvin. Like, let me tell you what is like. Curvin in person is as bubbly and laughable as you want a human being to be. That was probably one of those.
Past his bedtime when I saw him, so he was a little sleepy time. But and Gen Con's so big, it was hard to see everybody, and that was always, there's never enough time to see everybody. Like I would be perfectly happy just going to the convention to just like all the after hour stuff instead. I would be totally fine with that. So if anybody's in Ohio and wants to hang out, I know Games with Gabe said, why can't we all just live in the same city? And that would be, or at least teleport very easily, like very quickly. I want to game with all of you, and I never get to. So
Origins is a good time. Like, yeah, I did a lot of more industry events this Gen Con than previous ones, but it was a really weird flavor of things. Origins is an all weekend hangout, and that's one of the things I like about Origins. With the upcoming end of the line Kickstarter in June, what will probably end up happening for this Origins, Kim, is I might have to enlist you to help Mark do our Origins. I may not be able to go this coming year either.
God.
It's sad, Panda. I do love Origins. Yeah, we're having to make some hard decisions coming up. Yeah, we have a big announcement about Princess coming up in October's. Yeah, it's exciting. Jared, you know my love for you is real. Not as real as Bowser's, but very real.
Let's make that happen.
PAX Unplugged, you going, Kim, or are you avoiding me again?
It's questionable. I'm mostly looking, because like just from a cost perspective. So I have a request in for a badge. I am waiting to see if the publisher that I assisted at Gen Con is hiring, or is going to do events at PAX. And if they do, then I think that's probably a green light for me.
Let me know. But let me know. All right, so that was my mine was more of a surprise than a lesson. I have been very classically Gen X and curmudgeon-y that a person needs to do things solo because that's what men do. They survive the apocalypse, and like Mad Max, you just wander the waste with your dog. That is sort of the but I did not realize how much I could get out of participating in this community and how energizing it was. Very satisfying. Yeah, that was one of the lessons of making gaming content. And I understand that our end of the app is wonderfully blessed rather than other larger areas that have more militant and evil going on. But I very much appreciate this group of folks.
Yeah, I had one interesting back and forth with someone.
That was a Minnesota interesting.
It was a Minnesota interesting. I posted one video. This isn't the one I messaged you about. I posted one video about a Lorcana pack that we opened because we are excited about Lorcana. Yeah. And I had someone come on who didn't even look at our page, and they were like, "Oh, you guys are just Disney adults and your sheep," and so I just answered "bah" and moved on about my day. So I'm gonna like what I like, and I don't. And for the most part, you can do that on Board Game TikTok without a lot of flack. Like I can come in and like whatever I like, and nobody gives you grief about it, like other socials.
Yeah, I ran into I like to say there's a continent of awesome that I have been working on like a cup of sand at a time, and it's a continent now. It's not an island. It's a continent of just amazing people, and it's so large that I can go to various areas and still never run into like badness. But like with the Princess game found, I ended up like going off of my continent. Like I got like a hurricane of awful came sweeping in.
I was ready to get my pitchfork and go after like if I
It's
come
gonna be worse.
in there
I
real
got
quick.
two more. I got two more projects in this election cycle, and it's just gonna be brutal.
That's all
This
right.
is gonna be
I'll come up rear and go mess
all
with my
right. That raring to go. Tell us what's your number 3. How many did you have on your list, Kim? So I am
more than
pacing
what we
myself.
need. I came prepared. I have more than what we need. So
All right, that's great. What was your number
all right.
3?
So let your friends inspire you with their content, but don't compare yourself to it.
Oh, that's a great lesson.
So there's a lot of people whose content on here I admire greatly because they're flippin' brilliant with what they do. Danny is brilliant. Becky is brilliant. Like everyone, and I always go, I didn't think
Jared is prolific.
Yeah, Jared is prolific. Everyone like Drew does adorable skits. Mackenzie does amazing skits. Like I love everyone's content, so I am just as engaged with their content here. And I can't say that for other socials. Like I'm just as engaged with my friends and content here. And I'm so inspired by their brilliant ideas. And I go, dang, how and it makes me think outside the box sometimes, going, oh, maybe and I'm not trying to copy it. I'm not trying to compare myself. There are people who can do this full time, and I have a full-time gig that has to pay the bills. So I can't always give that same level of effort, and that's okay. But I look to them for inspiration and just to lift me up, because they're all brilliant. Like you're all flipping brilliant out here.
I tell people, Jared will agree with this. Just like in game design, if you see something that you like, try to do it. It's just like folk music from the 50s. Like if you hear something that you're whatever it is, go try it out, and then eventually you'll be able to do it in your own voice. And that's very much the thing. Like they used to say that, like, copying is the highest form of flattery, right? What makes this unique is that you are doing it. Like no one takes away from your feelings if you cook a meal by somebody else's recipe.
Right.
You still cooked the meal. You still served it up to people. Like temporary experiences, like live music, short form videos, all that kinds of stuff. You are allowed to, try on any number of things. Credit the people that you're like doing homages to or trying it out, but, don't steal it. But definitely give it a whirl. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, I've had some like, I could do something like that. Not the same thing, but like, I hadn't thought about trying that before. So it's, Board Game Sommelier has some really good lists. People like lists, y'all. Like,
Alex is so good. He's a lot taller than you think it would be.
He's really tall. I did meet him at Gen Con.
Yeah, and he's such a mama's boy. He brought his mom to Gen Con. I love him.
I love that.
What day is bring your mom to Gen Con day? But literally
with him too, because they sat a couple of tables away from us at Origins. But I'm glad that he has a parent who will game with him because I don't. So,
and the other thing is like, Jim is super tall for half Asian too. Like this is like my brother's really he's much taller. Like this happens occasionally. Like. I look at Alex's hair and I'm like, I remember when my hair used to do just that.
You've had some good cuts in your day, sir, that I have seen in recent times.
Oh my gosh, I miss the mohawks. I used to have so many of them. I had a triple mohawk at one time. It was purple. It was great.
Pretty
yeah.
Jared says hair. He remembers hair.
What I really want to talk about, which is a surprise for me, is, and Jared's a perfect example. He's a professor, but he also studied dance. And so we have Bridie, we have Gabe. These are all dance people who are showing up for Board Game TikTok.
I can't dance. I can carry a tune, so I can stay like. I can sing the right notes, but I don't know that anybody wants to hear it except the dogs. But I can I don't do it in public very often.
I don't know. It is. The older I get, the more I dance like the gopher from Caddyshack.
That's where I'm at. Yeah, that's what I like. No dancing.
Like, I think I went dancing like legit out to the club dancing somewhere in the teens, and I realized I dance very differently than everybody else. And I'm like, I did not realize dance was so age dependent as far as when was. Yeah, like there's some very goth dances from the late 80s, early 90s that I absolutely love.
I did learn a couple of line dances and I took square dancing lessons as an adult. It was so much fun.
The last time I cotton-eyed Joe was probably in 98 in Omaha. All right, so my number 3 about making game content is
you're keeping track of the numbers because I'm not.
So they practice does make perfect. Like, I never thought I was going to get over my anxiety about screen time. Like, there's a real hard push by everybody around me for the first 5 years of Fight in a Box that said that I needed to do video content and be front and center for our brand. I don't like it, but they were right. It's not my fun. It's not my favorite thing. It's not my favorite thing, but it has kept us going. And in particular, this channel of people has made that more rewarding than I thought it was going to be.
That's a good point. He does light up a room, Jared. You
what? No, that's sound. That's only if you see sound as light. I fill a room with noise.
Well, I have heard that. That's not untrue.
All these people at Gen Con going, I heard you way before I saw you.
I heard you at Gen Con and couldn't find it, but I knew you were there because I heard you. You were like 10 tables back behind us. I could hear you, but I couldn't find you.
All right. So what's next on your list?
Go at your own pace. Like, you don't have to, just because you and someone else starts making content at the same time does not mean that you and whoever else that goes back to comparing yourself to another channel. Do it so that you can make the content that you want to see, that you're comfortable producing, that is authentically you. It's okay if your pace isn't like anybody else's. We're all going through life at our own pace.
All right, so the internet gives us the unfortunate situation of allowing us to compare ourselves to the people who are at top of their game. And this is said a bazillion times. It is not about the distance between you and them. It is the distance between you and you from last week or the time before. Like, it is about your improvement. If you want to be up here, then you need to take all the little steps that go up here, right? And one of those hard comparisons that people do is like, for the algorithm, I must post so much like this. How do I ever blah 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 blah? Oh no, we're losing Becky. But don't worry about it. The answer to that is don't worry about it. If you can do once a week, do once a week.
Yep.
It's still rewarding. If you are a game designer, I've said this a bazillion times, it can help you practice your pitch, your demos, your word salad, all that kinds of stuff.
Jared.
We're losing Jared too. Jared's chasing after Becky. I'm jealous.
He's got to get a good word before she does.
The things that you do here can give you a lot of practice with, communication skills, stage presence, all that kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like as Cadelia and Jason Headley have both said, I'm way more comfortable having a conversation with a person through the app like this than
Oh, yeah.
like randomly running into them on the street.
I get that. I totally get that. And I've started to treat this like instead of because I was very I was perfectly fine showing games, but I didn't really want to show my face because I had this unrealistic fear that the internet is mean
The internet can be mean.
and they can be mean. And then I went, I don't give an F.
Yeah, if you
So
don't,
now I
yeah,
just yeah. So, but like you said, it took a little practice to get to that. There's a line in Bluey because I love Bluey even though I have no children. That is just run your own race, and so I try to remember that a lot, and so. I love Bluey a lot. For a 40-year-old, it's probably not okay, but I do.
all right, what's your number 4, Kim Breeze?
Okay, so mine. This is a surprise, I guess. For me that I ran into is
Thanks,
that
David.
I know is that I have deeper connections with games, and therefore sometimes their designers or their publishers because of this. Because so, case in point. If I'm involved in a game before when it goes to crowdfunding, I tend to get very invested in that publisher, especially indie publishers, because that's just I love indie publishers. They're what makes our hobby so spectacular. So
Oh,
when I
Kim.
get to like cheer along and watch a Kickstarter reach the finish line, and more than one time I have tears in my eyes because that person that I now have built this connection with has met their goal. And I got to be, even if I just, did a review of the game, whatever it was I got to do, you build such closer connections than you don't expect to.
Yeah,
So
especially if
more
it's
than once I have been in
a
tears because
24
somebody
day nail biter.
do what?
It's a 24-day nail biter where, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's, yeah.
There was much celebrating in the halls when Conquest Princess and there's been other games too that I have I've just been like so invested in this that it's a different level of involvement and care about a product than other things that I purchase and even games that I'm not involved with. Like
It is a new way to enjoy the hobby and build relationships.
yeah.
I would definitely think if it wasn't on my list before, but you're putting it on my list now. Absolutely. The folks who are taking the time and care to make crafted experiences, like Jared would say, around the games that you are creating, I very much appreciate them. Their fresh take on something that I've worked on for years is super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, and when you get to take that, when you get to finally have that game on your table and share it with your gaming group or other people, it has an extra special meaning then too, because you knew it when it was an itty bitty little creation in somebody's head, and now here you are getting to share it with somebody, and you get to share that with them, and then it makes them love it. Like so, those are the games that will never ever ever leave my shelf. Like there's just some games that will never ever ever leave.
Your Kaiser Cucumber is much appreciated by me. Like
Always there.
Kaiser Cucumber is. Oh, hold on a second. My phone's going crazy.
Someone's calling in. Is it
Are
Jesus?
you there?
I'm here.
Okay, sorry.
Jesus is looking for me because I've been up to some schnizzle lately, so that's probably what it is.
It's definitely a thing. A deeper like passion and understanding for a product or a publisher is definitely something that you can do when you're doing something that's public and has a little bit more time or personal investment than just maybe like a playthrough. Not that playing isn't the most important thing. Like I think more people need to have experiences in and around play, especially as adults, and see it as a way to build better relationships and improve themselves. Too often we think self improvement is work and work is bad. Yeah.
That's fair. That's very, very fair. I had a sidebar I was going to. Oh, I did have a super, super fast, tiny sidebar. So we had a get together at work last week.
Okay.
And we had to bring an item for show and tell. So to basically tell something about ourselves for the other people on the team. So it was kind of an icebreaker, and
How many people are we talking?
this was a fairly small group, so there was only like 8 or like there were less than 10 of us, I think. Um,
That's a
so
convention.
I took one of my convention badges and shared how, and I would say this has really become enlightening within the last year or so, is how much board gaming has become a really huge reflection of who I am, and how much I've really went, this is something really important to me, like the community and who I'm involved with and the friends that I've made. And so, yes, I have a badge that I put on for work, and I come in and there's a Kim version that comes to work. But when I get to put on one of my convention badges and go to one of these, like I get to really be a lot of my true authentic self with so many other people, and just how much it is now a part of my identity. And it's just been in the last, I mean, it's been that way for a long time, but the light bulb went off and I was like, this is who I am, and that's awesome. I'm okay with that.
I do not. I'm not blessed with a consistent mental state or personality, and so I would say my version of that is different. I get to be a better person because I want, like, this is a reminder to get off your couch and stop, like, uh like, giving into depression for the day. Like,
Yeah,
there's things.
it's where I'm my most mental healthy, for sure. Like when I'm like, it's totally different. When I'm around a table or at a convention or talking about games or something to do with games, I'm in a better state.
Yeah, we have game church on Sunday with the Yang brothers. That's what
I
we
love that.
call Sunday morning playtesting. It's good. Like, I like that. Like,
My Tuesday night at Sovereignty is what it lifts me up a lot each week.
it's definitely a thing. Yeah. Um, the things that you get from different organized people, things that you, for whatever reason you're divorced to, you can actually get from gaming. Like, feeling a part of something bigger. If you get deep enough into gaming, you will feel like you're part of something bigger. Feeling appreciation and accomplishment and thankful for, like, the moment. Gaming can teach you that. And these are all just positive mental health things for self-care. And that would lead me to my number four. Making game content as a part of your rhythm of self-care is actually possible.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen with me, but it is. Yeah, I would
Jared
definitely.
left, but I feel like he would echo that too, because I think he talks about that a lot on his channel.
Yeah, I mean, he goes from pain issues to and he goes to some pretty serious, like, conventions.
Yeah.
That little tiny man in a blue shirt goes a lot of places internationally.
Yeah.
All right, so your number five. Are we on five? I think we're on
I think
five.
so. All right, I'm combining two.
Okay, let's do it.
You're not gonna ever make content that makes everybody happy, but make the content that you want to watch.
All right, so if you look at, and this comes up again and again in our discussion, if you look at our election cycle as something like, you're not going to get 26% of everybody is not going to agree with you. I don't care who you are. Yep. You're going to get 26% of people to not agree. Even me making the statement, which is pretty statistically accurate, I will get 26% of people not to agree with the statement.
Absolutely.
So, like, at a minimum, you're going to get a fourth of people who are either just vehemently on the other side, like, at a minimum. And that's you killing it, like, having the highest approval ratings ever. It's so, don't worry about it. Like, if you can connect genuinely.
I said it's not worth to let those little nuggets, because I have let those little nuggets get in my head and shut me down and nearly shut down my channel for months at a time. And then I went, why do I, like, he's no statement of me. Like, I put an effort and I care and I like what I made. The end.
Yeah, but it's hard to get to the other side of that. And I think that would be my number five, what it teaches you. Is how to get to the other side of negative feedback or criticism quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Like,
you've given me a ton of pointers on that too. It's like you if you need to feel the feelings in the moment, you feel them, get it over with, and move past it. And then and I don't like I can't even remember what some of those things were now. That in the moment I could barely move past them, and they like. But now I'm like I don't even remember what that person said because it's irrelevant. I'm here to have fun and make friends and talk to people about something that I love, and that's all I need to focus on.
yeah, sometimes you need to feel the ick to get away from it. You're
Yep.
like, oh, ooh, I don't want to. Okay, yeah, this is awful, and now I'm done. Uh,
Yep.
uh, two, yeah,
I use the don't yuck someone's yum, which I'm pretty sure I got from you the other day. And someone went, "What does that mean?" And I'm like, well,
did you explain to them where that comes from?
I to an extent. But I was like, no, it's like so I explained it as don't say something's yucky if someone else thinks it's yummy, is how I explained it to this person.
And did they get it
Um I
or
think so.
not?
And they were like, I've never heard that before. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah, there's a reason they've never heard before.
so then I was like, whoops, a Seppyism slipped when I
Yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. Oh,
to
I
watch
know
someone.
exactly where I got that from, and yes, you. I hope they use it in a context because that's pretty hysterical.
Yeah. Whoopsie daisy.
Hmm.
I also say
6.
interesting a lot. Wait, I'm number 6? I combined two. Hang on.
6.
Hang on.
For everybody who's just joining us, we're in the back nine of our today's topic, which is what does making gaming content teach you? Things that you can use to feel better about yourself, things that you can use to enjoy the gaming hobby more, things that you can use to carry on into your other parts of your life. Like, for example, back in the aughts, if somebody had the gumption to put down, I led a 40-man raiding guild in Worlds of Warcraft. I was guarantee on their resume, I would guarantee that person an interview. I didn't care. I was like, okay, you have done this thing. You sit down and you tell me
You can totally put that.
what it taught you.
You can put board gaming on your resume too. I had consistency, consistency,
Oh,
consistency.
that sounds so familiar, Kim. Please
Which
tell
is
me
a
more
very
about this
big trigger word.
consistency.
It's the thing I struggle with more than anything else in board game. Is to find a rhythm that works for my life. So it's really, really easy to overcommit or think that you can put out more content than you can, and want to be involved in so many wonderful things about this industry that it's hard to be like, where am I going to put that? So, yeah,
All
that's
right,
it's
so
an ongoing struggle.
I've been spending a significant amount of time this year as an adult secretly, and helping people with their business processes, particularly gaming companies, or gaming related companies. And there is an older book by somebody called David Allen called "Getting Things Done." Have you read this book before?
I don't think so, but I'm writing it down.
Okay, so the lessons in it, um, and the reasons for it are pretty rock solid.
Yeah.
It is written in an unfortunately boomer self-help style. It's really like, seriously, it's like, oh my god, I could not sit through the seminar that this book, whatever it is. But the core of it is talking about wasted energy, on the wind up to doing something. So much of our personal energy that we have ends up getting used not doing, procrastinating, putting the thing aside, thinking about it, but not actually using that thinking about for productive
Yep.
reasons,
Absolutely.
right? Or picking something up again that you've put aside mentally. So the entire book is about creating a workflow with your life where you do not have to waste as much energy on those two things. Like worry and fret about dropping activities and scheduling those activities. Bye, Zazu. Good to see you. I would recommend it as a as a read. The method in it is pretty invasive,
Yeah.
which involves cataloging everything you have to do in your business, your creative, and your whatever into one monstrous 2-day event, and then living the system. The creative habit. Now, Gabe, the creative habit, how does that compare to Creative Inc? I've been looking for resource books for people who are in creative industries, like illustrators for games, graphic designers for games, writers for games, people who do a creative endeavor, I guess make content for games, and how to inspire excellence in your team. We're going to take a little time in the sidebar right here. You can't learn this from your past experiences. I know I've had a lot of people just do better me in my 4 decades in the workplace. Just telling somebody to dig deep or do harder, it doesn't actually get it done. And if you're looking about something that will have somebody bring their A game, what you can do with your teams and with your partners to get them to commit more of themselves to this project. Oh, I do like the ritual habits of your craft. I absolutely agree that creating, I call it creating, Gabe is talking about creating ritualistic habits for getting your creative stuff done. I call it setting your autopilot for success.
Oh.
Too many autopilots are set purely to self-sabotage, but to set your autopilot so that you do not have to waste energy on things that are draining is a good way to short circuit a lot of the stuff. Just telling yourself not to do a thing is not usually helpful. You instead have to teach yourself to do something else.
Yep.
But yes, so
this year,
go on.
No, so there's some community stuff that I'm involved in. So that is all coming to an end at the end of next month.
The opera
One is already done. One is done and done.
Are you looking for your next thing then, Kim Bruce?
No. I have enough other things to fill. There are no new things coming. These are ending.
Whoa.
Because I want to focus on the things that I enjoy doing. I don't enjoy doing those anymore. So, yeah. So, nothing new. Just room for better things.
Gabe, that's great. I'm going to scroll down for a second to look at it. The creative habit. Yeah, I will definitely check that out. So, Kim, we are on the last part of that sidebar about excellence, and we're going to go on to 7. You can start looking at your list.
Oh, God.
Personal investment by instead of trying to get them to connect with their work if they're not doing it, either have them connect with you or connect with the goal. If they can see their own work being bigger than themselves and them wanting to participate in that way, and this all circles back to other stuff that we said today, it will bring out the best in people, or at least that incremental, that much more. Just like we said, hey, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be more present. I'm going to be ready. And that kind of stuff. All right. So, number 7, Kim Breeze.
Okay. So, you're going to learn new skills because that's how I got my current actual pay the bills job. And kind of going back to what we were just talking about, find out what's really important to you.
Ooh, self-discovery. You went there, Kim Breeze.
And that's been my journey. And maybe some other people don't, because maybe they're in it because they like getting free games. This has been a very personal journey for me.
There is a lot cheaper time-wise ways to get games.
Oh my God, right? Steal them from the store first. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't steal
Go
them.
to Goodwill. Just we got
Yeah.
game thrifters. Those game thrifters are literally teaching you.
Go to Thrift Talk.
like seriously.
Like I've bettered so many. Well, and you talked about skills too, but like some of my technical skill stuff, like I am now an e-learning instructional designer because I started making how-to videos with board game content. That's really where that all started. And now I know how to do audio stuff. I know how to do video editing. I know how to do all, and I enjoy everything but the video editing. Um, I like it sometimes, but it's a chore, and I make it harder. That's which is why I script stuff. But you find out what's really important to you. Hence why there are things that don't bring me like this. Being able to be a part of the community brings me so much joy. Anytime I get to check out a new game or I get to talk about it, or I get really excited when I get to share that with other people. And so that's how I've started to figure out like this is how I want to engage in my personal relationships with people. Like I'm just going to be that really annoying board game girl. But you just start to find out what really matters.
Pat makes a great point. There are, if you're a person who learns by doing, there is no better place than learning thing by throwing yourself right in the middle of it. Knowing who you are. This can be a career-defining skill if you're always choosing things that are on the outskirts of technology or the adoption of technology. If you find yourself in that place where learning and applying what is new and seeing what skills you can take to the next thing that's going to be new, and that's usually like usually like self-discipline, project management, communication, not wasting energy, self-confidence, self-care. Like these are all skills. And I really do think self-care is a skill that can be acquired. And maybe it's because, and I think, I think I saw a TikTok the other day where somebody explains the generation differences of people by naps. And they're like, Gen X people are so tough, they don't even sleep. As a group that never admitted weakness or was self-reliance, anything but self-reliance was a show of complete failure. And that generationally sort of defines weirdly Gen X people of a certain success type. Like obviously doesn't fit all people, but you can run into those, that personality type more often in that generational group. Mm-hmm. That is the thing, right? Often when we talk about large groups of people, people think a generalization about a group isn't true because it's a generalization. In general, something as a generalization is always partially false.
Yeah.
As a marketer, I've had to talk big, like, okay, the 60%, okay, we're going to say most people. And people, I'm like, 40%. We're missing a lot of people. We're not going to concentrate on those, but we're going to concentrate on most people.
It works.
Okay, so we're going to start the wrap up after number 8, Kim Breeze.
Uh-oh.
You got one? One final one?
Did you give yours?
For 7?
Yeah.
I don't know. I went on an old guy tangent about excellence.
You did. That's not fair. Oh, all right. I think we touched on this one, but it is a separate one. I hear from a lot, like, I know that it's hard when you're making content and you're like, man, how do I have the time to make my own content, to watch somebody else's content? But I think supporting others is worth it. It helps you engage in the community more. It helps you build relationships. So I do think it's important to take time to also watch the stuff your friends are making.
That's true.
Creators are making.
My counter to that is pick a thing and make it as specific as possible.
Yeah. Because you'll never be able to catch everything they're making.
Right.
It don't feel bad if you can't catch all of it, but at least I think it's important to... I do that with my friends outside of the board game industry too, right? Like you still follow in some of their interests. So, and that's how I get inspired by so many people, is because I do watch other people's content when I have a chance. It's fun.
David, what do you want to say about the book conversation? We're
Welcome
going to
back,
start the wrap up. We're going to the last few questions. Just for folks know, next Wednesday, there will be no live for the next 2 Wednesdays. I will have my first vacation in 9 years.
Woo!
And so hopefully I'll line up some guests. David, maybe you will be my guest in 3 weeks. I'd love to have you back. We could talk about how-to books and other kinds of stuff. Gabe, I haven't had you on. You should be a guest. I would love that. I feel like it's my weird how get to know people for gaming by having them onto onto the live. It's one of my favorite way to get to know people in this community is have them on here with a topic. It's like a game where I give them test of stuff, and then they come with a list, and then so forth and whatnot.
It was a quiz the last time I was on. I had to guess who said things. I didn't do very well.
I didn't do that this time. Instead, I went deep. But yes, content can never be too specific. Would be my weird. Like you can make content about, and having it be so narrowly focused and short can be liberating. My major in college was creative writing and alternative lit, and I spent a lot of time with poetry, writing it and other kinds of stuff. And like a haiku is a very limited format. Think of like 15-second videos as your video haiku.
I struggle with some of those. How come you haven't made a haiku game? Inquiring minds want to know.
Because I'm not that talented. All right, I got it. These things are like my phone is blowing up, but let us finish the gap. Okay, Kim, what's coming up from you, and what can people expect?
What is coming up? Season 2, Bored Out of My Mind, will be starting pretty soon. We're going to record the first episode and then get some special designer guests on to talk about their journey into board game design. So just a little bit different, but still getting advice from them as we go along. And then you'll just see more content here.
Have you had somebody talk about taking classes in board game design? David is fresh from one of those, and he's a great guest.
Ooh, good to know, David.
Yeah. He's inspiring game designer, overflowing with ideas. I would recommend having him on. He's a joy. Okay.
Yeah, and just our regular, kind of funny stuff here. We might try a Lorcana tournament, and I might report back on that. I don't know yet. Like, they're kind of hard to find around here.
Really?
So, yeah.
There's gotta be a few people like Columbus is the home of the Pokemon World Championships every year. Like, how can there not be overlap between the capital of the Pokemon Card Game World Championships and Lorcana?
Well, there probably is, but I live in the sticks, so it's getting there in time is the challenge.
I understand.
By the time I get off work and I go take the grandmama, and then we get there. I did see that Easy Cat went to a tournament, and I was a little jelly. So we have enough cards to build decks.
Yeah, I would assume so. It's not like you go in small into a title, Kim Breeze.
No, but we actually I learned my lesson with Star Wars Destiny, man. That thing broke my heart. So we've gone pretty lightly. But I mean, I did work as a demo for the Learn to Play for the Lorcana event at Gen Con. So we got a couple of thank you things, and that's the only reason we have product at all.
Oh, that's good. All right, so for Fighting the Bot stuff, if you aren't following us on our newsletter, it's the way to get the freshest and the skinniest of the skinnies around for Conquest Princess. We talk about what's coming up and what's going on that shenanigans. Our next convention will be Gamehole at the end of October. We have announcements in and around there for Conquest Princess. We'll be off from the live for 2 weeks, and then I'll figure out a new topic and a new series for that shenanigans. Thank you so much, Kim Breeze, for being so awesome and my constant companion in and around this stuff.
I love always spending time with you. So thank you. I miss my friend.
All right, everybody, please have a safe and fun couple of weeks. And
Great.
I will check back in with everybody, and we'll have a new topic for the Wednesday Live. Everybody take care.
See ya.
Bye.